Welcome back to the Dear Hmong Woman segment that we have. We're so excited that you're here. Today I'm going to be reading off one of the people who submitted a submission to us. So their pronouns are she, her. Their age is 23. They are here in the United States. And before I go on, my name's Ariel.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Dochi.
All right, let's dive right in. So I've never been in a romantic relationship before. Some days I don't really care because I know I'm in my self-love era and focused on building myself up. At the same time, I'm a human who desires love and wants someone special to share it with. Also, there's a part of me that feels terrified a bit entering the dating world because it seems like everyone my age has reached this milestone that I have yet to catch up to. Especially being in a predominantly white space as a woman of color, it's been hard to believe that love is something that can happen for me when my whole life no one's really approached me in the same ways they would women who fit into the standards of beauty. Any advice, tips on dating? Self-love is definitely appreciated. And they left something nice for us. She also said, I found you all on TikTok and I really enjoy it. Something about seeing women of color just sit down and have fun whilst talking about real issues is so amazing. Heart emoji. Thank you.
So I definitely want to thank you so much for sharing this with us and for also following us on TikTok. Your vulnerabilities, in itself, I think I can really relate to that as well. Your self-love journey, especially, because I think that's something that I was trying really hard to work on before getting into a connection. And I bring that up because I feel it's totally okay to experience both those things at once. It's normal to have the desire of wanting to be in a relationship while simultaneously enjoying your self-love journey. Right before I got into my current relationship, I was truly in the midst of, I love it here so much, because I had never truly been just on my own, alone, not in a relationship, because I had gotten one so early on. And when I started to taste what it was like to be in a single life, where, as Emily had mentioned, you're really just caring for yourself, and it's just so carefree. But at the same time, I longed to be in a relationship because I love being in love. And I've said that in prior episodes as well. But that reason isn't always the right reason to be in a relationship. I think the idea of relationship milestones at a certain age, is a social construct, and it's not exactly a universal truth. Everybody's journey is very unique to who they are, and there's really no right time to experience a romantic relationship. And I agree with Emily in that I'd rather be alone and happy and content with what I do in my life than to be absolutely miserable in a partnership where I am with someone, but I feel absolutely alone. So continue loving yourself.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to what these ladies have said, I think your desire is so valid because we long for connection, we long for intimacy, and we long to share a life with someone special, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I remember being in high school, I wanted to have my first kiss, and I wanted to hold hands, and like, those are all real things that I think we all share universally. But I do think in this current climate and society, we romanticize the feeling of being in love with others a little bit too much. Like, the flowers are nice, the dates are nice, building the future together is nice, but I think at the end of the day, like, you do sort of have to find that middle ground when you do get in a relationship of your own self-love, pouring into yourself, but also learning how to pour into your own relationship. And I know these ladies have said it already, but like, everyone's journey is unique, and you shouldn't put a timeline on yourself to figure all that out and to have a time span of when you're married, because like, for example, like, I've gone on dates with people, but I've only been in 2 serious relationships. And to a lot of people, they'd be like, 2? That's it? Like, what? I have like 6 or 8, but they've only been a year in. So I really do like think if you sat down and talk to all your friends about this, like, you'd realize that everyone's on a different spectrum, right? And me being only in 2 serious relationships, that's enough for me. Like, I don't need more than that. But I think it's also important to remember that there's no set age and there's also no set number of relationships you should have had by now, right? Because life will unfold differently for you. And by not comparing yourself and not putting yourself on that timeline, it's going to allow for things to unfold more naturally and easily. Another point that I wanted to bring up is that you have no idea what happens in people's lives, and neither do I, unless they tell me. But, and I just say that because, like, there's a lot of knowledge that people hold that have been and are in long-term relationships. Like, I don't think we can argue that, but there's also a lot of knowledge that you hold as a single person who's never dated as well. And for me personally, whether you've been in a relationship for 5 or 10 or 30 years, you never know what's happening behind closed doors, right? Like, someone could be posting a happy, like, birthday photo of them smiling on Instagram with their other person, but at the end of the day, they've been, like, arguing for a month. Or, like, someone could be in a relationship for 10 to 20 years and they get divorced. And then I'm the one hosting the divorce party. Like, being able to walk with people through different parts of their lives, I've realized that every chapter is so different. And I never compare myself because you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And, like, this is not to, like, shit on people in long-term relationships, but this is just saying, like, that's why I don't compare myself, because you never know what's happening. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, that just keep that in mind. And then I think another really big thing too is, like, divine timing, right? So being the energy you want to attract, and personally, when you vibrate at a higher frequency, you're also able to attract the people with the same vibe. So a lot of people are scared of getting into the dating world, but the more you treat it like a game, I personally think you'll win at life, because, like, the next man you meet doesn't have to be your husband, right? Like, it can be you figuring out if you like this person, and if not, you can skip over them. But you only learn things through experiencing them, and putting yourself out there, you'll learn a lot about yourself as well. So
I don't know. I've said this before. I'm going to say this one last time, then I have nothing more to add. I just think that, like, you really should explore, these feelings of, like, do I want to date because I just feel lonely? I feel alone. And I think you need to explore, like, why you feel that way. Like, do you truly feel like you'll be fulfilled if you're in a relationship? Do you truly feel fulfilled if you meet that certain, whatever checkpoint that you get to? Or are there other goals that you have that you're convoluting as, I need to be in a relationship in order to feel that way? I only say that because at some point I thought that too, where I'm like, I need to be in a relationship in order to feel like I'm fulfilled. But then I pursued other goals and I'm like, no, I truly feel fulfilled by doing these things. And if I do get into a relationship, that's an enhancement to who I am. It's not filling a void. It's not doing something for me other than me saying, okay, I have room for this in my life. Now, instead of me making room, it's me saying, okay, there's already room, it can come in. So yeah, enjoy being single. I know it sucks to say that because people are probably tired of hearing enjoy being single too. But if you do end up going on dates, like Ariel said, like, you have to be open. Not everybody's perfect. They're not going to meet all of your needs, and there's always room to grow. So don't go out also expecting Mr. Perfect if you are, a straight woman, to come out of the woodwork and immediately, like, you're happy, because relationships take work.
yeah, I mean, I think what you said is really important because, as you mentioned, like, you should be a whole person and not need someone to rely on or to fill that hole in you. But I mean, it goes back to what I said, right? Of, like, you should be able to walk. I've been able to walk with people through different chapters of their life. And so that's how I know, like, every chapter is so important, but at the same time, I know not to compare myself to that. But I just wanted to say that the fact that you haven't been in a romantic relationship yet doesn't diminish your worth or your capacity for love. It just means your story is still unfolding for you. So I think right now, the most important thing that you could focus on is probably nurturing your relationship with yourself, because your self-worth is determined by if you're in a relationship or not. And you're valuable and worthy just as you are. So take yourself out on those solo dates, wear that nice dress to dinner, glow up, take the time to heal and date yourself. Because essentially after my first relationship ended, that's sort of what I did. And I mean, I'm not going to say I was happy or single, but it's just when you're dating someone, that person also has to come into all your decisions. And a relationship is a lot of work, you know? And yeah, I just think we romanticize it a little bit too much because it takes commitment and it takes a lot of effort and work to put into that relationship. But like, for example, I'd go out to MIA. I took myself out to Oregon by myself. And I feel like during those moments where I was alone and going through things and healing and finding myself, I feel like that prepared me to be the person that I needed to be for myself and my partner. So yeah, just putting it out there. Enjoy your time right now, because when you get into the relationship you've been desiring, like, it'll be worth it. But there are some moments where you are going to miss your solo time, you know?
Yeah, I would say that I guess the question I have is, do you truly want to be in a relationship? And it's just a matter of, I'm afraid I'm going to lose this self-love, like independence era. Because I think, as Ariel had already mentioned, there's a good balance of both. Even if you're in a relationship, you should be able to balance that independence away from your partner, and have time to yourself as well. But I think that if you are strong in your self-love journey, being in a relationship shouldn't be too difficult to do that, because you would be able to identify a partner fitting to you who understands that piece that you want that's important to you, if that makes sense. Um, I think the self-love era is a very, very important one, and everyone should go through it. It's, as you guys had already said, it's a different kind of happiness. I I don't know how to explain it. I feel like it wasn't until I was in it that I could really truly feel like, oh my God, this is so nice. I kind of want to just drench here. But as Ariel had mentioned, as human, I just, for me, always long to have someone at the end of the day as well. I want to be able to share certain things that happen in my life with that significant other. And it's not that I don't have friends that I can talk to, or family that I can, go over those things with, but it's a different kind of a shared experience with a partner. So I understand that that's a hard balance to go between, but I don't think it's as black and white as, if I'm in a relationship, I no longer have this self-love, only me space. You should still have that. And I think actually through that journey, that's what's taught me to be a better person for my relationship. I know I've mentioned it in prior episodes, and my partner and I are fairly new in our journey, but it's never been healthier you know, in terms of communication and many different things. Um, Slight update, since we didn't do that, but like we just had our well, technically we're past the 6 month mark, but we're doing check-ins, and that's not something that I've ever done before. And I don't think I would have ever thought about that had it not been for my self-love journey, because I'm learning to love myself and value myself in a relationship, as opposed to valuing my partner over myself. And that's just the slight shift that I think changes the world of how dating and how a relationship works. And Ariel made a really good point on, you won't end up marrying the next man you get with. God forbid, if it happens, it happens. If that's just the love of your life and you guys are great, I don't recommend it. I had gotten married very young, and yes, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. I can't really say that anyone I knew in my life knew that I was even ever contemplating divorce, because that's not something that I shared. I was a very, very private person. I really only shared selfies of the good times, because I wasn't really one to diary up everything in my partner and I's relationship on Facebook or on the internet, so that everyone knew every bad moment we had, every good moment we had. It was just a glimpse of my life. And when I did get a divorce, and even after having gotten divorced, I still had family members when I would show up to parties asking, so voting, like, good to see. I'm like, oh, sorry, he's gone. Like, he's not here anymore. And it's just a, whirlwind of questions of, well, what happened and all this stuff. And it's like, well, it just didn't work out. And I've already gone into a lot of details in prior episodes about that, but don't compare yourself with others. You truly don't know what people are struggling with within their relationships behind closed doors. And the waves of what you go through in a relationship it's all so different from one to another. So definitely focus on yourself. If a relationship is something you truly feel you're ready for and that's what you're really seeking for, it can definitely happen, but you do have to put in effort and going out on dates. Yes, don't make the mistake of thinking this next person will be the one, because I'm not gonna lie, scare somebody away. That was a good lesson for me too. So I've done it all. Scaring people, getting with a hobo. Yeah.
I mean, I think another really important thing too that I wish girls would take is like you need to learn how to become self-obsessed with yourself. Because for me, I think people are too humble, and like I think when someone says I like myself, people take it the wrong way, you know? So I think building the self-confidence and self-love, you'll attract the right people. And I personally believe that self-confidence also leads to self-love. So showing up for yourself, knowing that you matter the most, I think is really important. I've said this in previous episodes, but men will come and go. Like, I think that's why you have to lean into sisterhood. Decenter yourself from men. Learn how to live a life without them. And honestly, when the right man comes into your life, you'll know. So just putting that out there, like, I really take the time to nourish and really feed into my female relationships and friendships because like I've had the best memories with them. And I've also realized like they've been through all different parts of my life as well. So yeah, men will come and go. Be careful in who you keep in your inner circle and keep nurturing those relationships.
Great. All right. Thank you, Ariel, for introducing that submission. So I will be reading this submission. It's from another woman. It's 23. Pronouns is she, her. And let me read you their entry. So there is someone that I went on a date with, and I do really like them. We split that date 50-50, which I want to note I have no problem with. What I did have a problem with was that he makes less than me annually, and he has no goal to make more. Like he expressed no interest in moving up or making more or even doing more with his life. He's a fun guy. We get along well, but that to me was an issue. I want to know that you're the type of person that has realistic ambition. I don't need them to be the breadwinner, but at least show ambition. Do you think that it's superficial of me to no longer want to pursue anything with him because of this, or should I give it another try?
So thank you again so much for sharing your honest and very nuanced situation. I think it's absolutely valid to have concerns about your potential partner, their ambitions and their life goals. I don't think it's superficial at all to feel that way. You're trying to find the right partner. And I get that while splitting the bill is about equality in that moment, but of course, considering long time compatibility, it definitely involves more than just the financial aspect of it, and it's just the one dinner. So he might split it that one time, but who knows about that next time. I would say that you're definitely not alone in feeling that way, and that many people will consider ambition and a sense of purpose to be important qualities in a partner. I know that I definitely did when I did heal and figure out what I want. I wanted someone who wanted more in life as well, who's always driven, who's always looking to do more, because I had been in relationships where people just were stagnant, and I get that some people are okay with that. I just wasn't. That wasn't the kind of partner I was looking for. And it sounds like you're very much on that same road. I think it really reflects your shared values about growth, progress, and how they approach life. And so, again, for me, it was like, if you don't have any further ambitions, during my dating, very, very brief dating period, I spoke to someone whose ambitions were really to just, on my downtime, I like to drive in the highway, in the freeway, and that just wasn't it for me. So I think it's important to spot ambition, and it's also important to identify what ambition means to one another, because there's so many different levels of what that is. And so, like, again, this guy's ambitious adventures were really just driving up and down the highway or freeway, and it's like, cool beans, man, but not for me today. So
yeah, I think it just speaks to our pod episode where we talked about like our non-negotiables, right? And
100%.
what we were saying is like it's okay if you're okay with where you're at in life, right? Like you're making it, like you're paying your bills, you're doing whatever, and it's okay to live a simple life. But if you have no goals, like you said, like that speaks to other aspects of your life. Like, do you have a goal to improve your home? Do you have a goal to like help your partner? Like these things speak to someone's character a lot more than people think. I didn't have much to write on this because at the end of the day, I agree that it's not superficial of you to identify that this person doesn't meet your life goals. Moving forward, even if it was one date, I think you can tell a lot from a person from one date. At the same time, yeah, could you take time to learn more? Yes, but I also think that like a first date says a lot about a person to begin with. And I have what did I write here? Oh, I also wrote that like I don't think it's superficial to be worried about his ambition. I think it is superficial if the only concern for you was the money. Because like if he was ambitious and you're like, no, he doesn't make as much as me, I don't want to date him. That is superficial. But I think with both of your reasonings together, that's not superficial. I don't know. I would say refer to our non-negotiables episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we talk a lot about that, where it's like, I think ambition just speaks a lot to your character. And if that doesn't meet your goals, it doesn't meet your goal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I had a really easy, simple answer, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but just don't do it. If you're questioning, I know.
Her hand.
I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but just don't do it. Because honestly, like, if you're already questioning this stuff this early, just don't do it. Listen to your gut. Like, if I went on a date and a man said to me, oh, let's cut it 50-50, that'd be a no-go for me. So for some people, that'd be okay. But your first date with me is your first impression, and that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So I would have no problem not continuing with that person, because for me, I love to be courted, right? And back to our non-negotiables episode where me and Emily talked about that, like, you're supposed to court me. Like, I like that. And some women don't, and that's okay. That's them. But I think it's really important to bring me the flowers and like get the check and like open the door for me. And I think those certain things are things that I look out for. And obviously those are very like, what was it? Superficial. But at the same time, those are the things that are important for me, right?
Yeah.
And just like what you said, like at the end of the day, we have different definitions of ambition, but being content with your life and not wanting to do anything versus being ambitious and not making enough are two different things. So if that's important to you, just hold on to that. Don't, go for less than that. And at the same time, I think something that my sister said to me, which I'm really glad that she did, is that sometimes you have to give the permission to yourself to not let things work out. Mm-hmm. So it's okay that this doesn't work out. Like, just keep at it and you'll find what you're looking for. So yeah, I don't have anything long. I don't have anything crazy, but I'm going to hold your hand and hopefully that helped. So yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, ladies, and thank you for submitting. We hope that it helped. If you have any advice to give to this young lady, feel free to share in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe to our YouTube. It's free. It won't hurt you. And follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Blue Sky, on Facebook. And if you feel like submitting something, feel free to in our link tree. And we will see you next time. Thank you.